Hi, this is Em, and today we're going to take a look at seed collecting. It's that time of the year when you need to start being on the lookout. And so I thought I'd go through the garden and just give you a few tips if you're interested in that and show you what the seeds look like on a couple of popular plants. First of all, this is my little carry-all tray where I have my little plastic bags for seed collecting, and I simply write down what is in it and then the year. And then I carry around my little Sharpie pen and then some extra bags back here. This is Larkspur seed. They're very small and black. And the way that you can tell when they're ready is that their seed pods, which is right here, turn brown. The stem underneath them goes brown. And in this case, you can actually see down in there, and you can look at the seeds and you can tell they're about ready to split open and spew forth their seed. This happens to be a blue larkspur. You can see a couple of flowers down there, but the seed pods look the same on all kinds of larkspur, and of which I have several different colors. This is a Queen Anne's lace. It's getting really spent, and you can see where it was beautiful in the day, but it's just going away. And here is a seed pod, and you can see down in there, and here's what the seeds look like. Get a few more. Now the thing about Queen Anne's lace is that they can be invasive, so what I do is I'm going to get this, and you see again this head is brown down, the stalk is starting to turn brown, and I'm going to take a couple of the heads and let them dry out and save them, and then I'm going to cut this back because I do not want all of these seeds to spew, because then I'll have a real problem. If you only collect one or two heads and then cut them down before the seeds get really radical, then you're pretty okay. And they're easy enough to pull out. So while they do multiply pretty good, they are controllable, not like some plants. This is Cosmos. I think the official name is Sonata, but our area doesn't really bring them in to buy at the garden variety store, so I have to grow it from seed every year. And I have a number of them that I started from seed, and they do really well. And here's a good seed pod to demonstrate. Again, stem's nice and brown. This is almost spewed all of its seed, but I will show you what they look like. So there are seeds mixed in there. So that is the regular garden cosmos that people are familiar with. But another cosmos that I like is the orange and yellow, and so we'll take a look at that. Here's the orange cosmos. They also come in yellow, and their seed pods look the same, the yellow and the orange, and they're very easy to tell when they're ready. Here's an excellent example right here. See how those seeds are just about ready to, and these are the seeds that you're looking at. That's the seeds right here. Yep. So this is already starting to drop its seeds. And there's what the flower looks like when it's in full bloom. They're beautiful, press well. All these things that I'm showing you are geared toward pressing. I press these. And if you watch any of my other videos, you'll see, like picking at flowers, things like that. You'll see what they look like pressed. Something else that I grew this year from seed, and I don't think I've done a picking at flowers where I've showed you what they looked at, but it's called Clarkia. And oh, here I can show. Here, I got one left. Let me bring it down. That's Clarkia right there. You can see my shadow over there. The sun's just coming up. Did you see? There's it in the sun. And I press these in profile. Just like that. I press them in profile. And they're really easy to start from seed. And here is a seed pod. And the seeds are inside of it. So you just want to wait until they're good and see if I can find any that are just right. Let me go to a different bush where there's more seeds that are ready. Here's a different Clarkia. I don't know if you can tell, but you see how brown those seeds are? These are perfect for picking. Let's see how brown that is. And here. So they're going to, as a matter of fact, this one is opened up. You can see where the top, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but the top is splayed open and they're starting to burst forth. Another one that I grew this year, and again I haven't shown you on video or in the Picking Up Flowers, is called Clary Sage. And that's kind of what it looks like when it's growing. I have blue and pink. These again start really easy from seed, just sow them in the garden. And you can see where these are getting ready to be picked for seeds. And their seeds are going to be down inside these little seed pods. And I don't know if any are going to come out, but that's where their seeds are going to be. So these are going to be ready. As a matter of fact, this whole pot, Clary Sage, Cosmos, Orange Cosmos. I also have a baby's breath down in here, but they're not blooming yet. This is a baby's breath. It's getting ready to start blooming. That was from seed. And then I also have Nigella down over here. Okay, this is not ready for seed yet, but Nigella, a lot of you might be familiar with the seed pods. This one, the seed pod, is just about getting ready, and it'll start bursting forth. So these also are easy from seed. Bachelor button, I think most of you are familiar with Bachelor button. Again, another one that's easy from seed. And these are ready. See how nice and brown they are? And then the seeds are right in here. Here, I'm going to get a couple of seeds out. So they'll be ready. Again, just sow them in the garden and some will pop up. This is Strawflower, and this one hasn't really opened up much yet, but now these I don't press, these I dry, I hang up in bundles and dry, and I tend to get them when they're about in this state because they'll continue to open up more as they dry, and I like them when they don't open up fully. I don't know how to explain it without showing you some examples, but the point is I would probably pick this one at this state, and this one isn't of course nearly ready for the seeds. We'll go over and look at one that's seeding here in just a second. I just wanted to show you that all of these that I'm showing you, this whole clump here, and there's quite a few of them, all started from seed. I just broadcast some out this spring, and here they are. And if you're lucky and you live in a mild climate, sometimes these will overwinter. So I will cut these down a little bit because they will not come back down at the bottom, but the tops parts will come, they'll just keep kind of growing up and giving you more flowers, and you can probably get another year out of them, even though technically I think they're called an annual. Here's a Strawflower that's ready to go to seed. You see, it kind of reminds me of a dandelion. And I'd probably wait just a little bit longer, but when you start seeing all this hair coming, yeah, it's pretty much ready. It's getting ready. This is cilantro seeds, and I start them in the spring. The weird thing about cilantro is I like cilantro in salsa. The thing is that the tomatoes don't bloom until now, and the cilantro leaves bloom in the spring, and so they never kind of coordinate. But I still save the seeds every year, hoping that you can dry them. You can take the cilantro leaves and dry them, so that you'll have the dried leaves to crush and put in your salsa later in the year if you like it in the salsa. But here are the seeds. They're ready to go. And they, again, you just throw them out in the yard, and they're really easy to also start. This is what I call Tickseed. It's a form of Coreopsis. And the only way I ever get them in my yard was from seed. And I got my first Tickseed from a container of wildflower seeds for the sun. And then I just collect the seed every year. I love these. They press really well, hold their color really well. And here, I don't think, some of these seeds aren't really, they're almost ready. So here's a good, this is going to be the first clump that's going to be a prospect. But see, there's still a little green under there. So as soon as those go fully brown and dried out, and the seeds will be in here, and they start really easy from seed, just scatter them in the spring after the frost is gone. Another, this is a pink larkspur. There's the seed head, but that's not why I came over here. I was going to show you the lettuce. This is red lettuce, and I save my lettuce, my green lettuce and my red lettuce, and you'll see that they start to give us this you gotta wait until that goes away. These aren't quite ready, and they're not quite dried out enough, but I just thought I'd show you while I was over here that you can save your lettuce seeds. Again, these are really easy to start, but you want these to be a little bit more dried out, and then the seeds, maybe you can start seeing the beginning of some seeds down in there. I don't know, they're little black seeds, but they're not quite ready yet, but they're getting ready. So you wait until they get dry, and this stuff kind of goes away, and then the seeds are going to be down in here. This is Snapdragon seed, and you can see how small they are. They come in a lot of different colors, and so yeah, and of course a lot of you probably know what Snapdragons look like. There's not much left on this particular bush. And the seed pods, you want to wait until they get really brown. See how brown these are down here? See how brown those are? And then the seed pods are inside, and the little seeds are inside, and they're very small. And again, you can just scatter around the yard, and then, as a matter of fact, all the Snapdragons in my yard have come from seed, and they will reseed themselves. If I just leave this here and let it go to seed, I'll find some Snapdragons around the yard here and there next year. And once you know what the seedling looks like, there's a white one. And while we're over in this bed, here's some yellow cosmos, and you can see, here's the seed. See how ready that's bursting forth now. And then while we're in this pot, this is a Statis. Our garden centers here in our area, good luck finding Statis, and I love Statis. And they're easy to grow from seed. Now these aren't quite ready yet, but you can see you want to wait until they go good and brown. They're still not brown enough under here. You can see where it's still green under there, and they're not dry enough, but the seeds will be down inside there, and so you want to wait until they're ready and then get those. But they do grow from seed, and I dry these, or I press them for pressed flower work. And also here's the baby's breath, but it's still not ready yet, but this was from seed. So you can get those from seed too. Something else that came from seed this year, and I dry these. I don't press them, I dry them, and then or if well, you can press them, so give it a try both ways, but I really like them. I think it's called Ageratum. I didn't pronounce that right, I'm sure, for those of you that know your botanicals. But let me go over to one that's getting more ready to seed. Here's one that's getting closer to seed, but it's still not ready. But again, just wait for it to get all brown under there, and the seeds are going to be down inside of the pod. I think. I don't know, I haven't collected the seed yet. I don't, but for those of you that know this plant, maybe that's the seed. What I'll probably do is collect some in this state and then wait for some to go really, really brown. That way I can make sure. And those of you that have collected seeds and know for sure, maybe you can make a comment. Always feel free to comment because I love to learn. And here's something else getting ready to go to seed. This is curly leaf parsley. And you can see a little bit of it green down there. Curly leaf. If I just let these go to seed in the garden, they will volunteer. I mean, a lot of these things will volunteer, but I also collect some on purpose. And these are perfect right now, this particular clump. And I use parsley I prefer the curly leaf, but there's also flat leaf. And I use it in cooking, and I also use it in my herbal tea. Every morning I come out in the garden and I pick leaves, dandelion, parsley leaves, sage leaves, bay leaves, etc. And I just throw it into my teapot with some green tea, some dried green tea, which I also have a plant that is the leaves. And I have that every morning. I start my day every day with the herbs from my garden. Just pick them, throw them in the pot, put some hot water on it, let it steep. Fish out the botanicals with a fork, and you're on your way. Having said that, if you do the same thing, make sure you don't have any sensitivities to certain kinds of plants. I've been drinking my herbal tea for years, and I've never had a problem. But you always want to, make sure. I mean, some people are allergic to peanuts, some people are allergic to strawberries, so just be cognizant. I don't pick these seeds per se because I just don't. They're easy to get from the garden center. Lobelia you can get from the garden center all the time, but I will let them go to seed because if you just let them go to seed every once in a while, they will volunteer, meaning you'll see babies coming up various places in your garden. So if you want a surprise once in a while to see a volunteer lobelia, then let them go to seed before you cut them back. But but these, like I say, they're easy to find in the garden center. There's another Snapdragon. I press these. I press them like that. This is a butterfly weed, Larkspur. I'll try to look it up before I post the video. Look down in the comments. I'll try to put a couple, say, butterfly weed equals down in the comments in case you want to know what the botanical is. And I started these from seed. And you want to wait till these get really dried out, and then of course the seed pods will start to open, and then there'll be seeds inside of there. And I would pick these and I would start indoors because they're a little bit more finicky. I imagine that maybe if I let these go to seed and go all over the area here, maybe it would make some babies, I don't know, because I haven't done that before. But these will start from seed, and I press the little flowers, and they're, again, good color keeper, and they're wonderful for many arrangements. Bidden is another one. This came from seed. There's solid yellow ones. This is got that really nice pattern on it. And my husband's side of the yard has an even different kind of variant that came forth from seed. And so they will do different things. And the seeds look a lot like the cosmos that I showed you. And I don't know if you can tell, but you see the little spikes on this thing that I'm moving? Those are ready. Those are the seed pods. Really easy to start from seeds. I mean, these biddens that we have around the yard like this, they just started. We had a couple bidden plants, and then all of a sudden the following year we had bidden plants all over. And I don't know how they get to where they get, but a lot of these bidden plants are nowhere near the parent plant. So easy to pull out if there's somewhere you don't want them, but they're easy to volunteer. Here's my husband's bidden just to show you the difference on how. And look, this one plant has that kind, and then see how they're different. And so I'm going to get some of the seed from this one too. Now we're getting into Zinnia territory. These zinnias that I'm going to show you started from seed that my husband started from seeds I collected last year, so that was good because he's the Zinnia guy. And so I've asked him to save me, to to not cut them back so I can get some seed, at least some of them. Now down here you can see where this one is, I don't think it's quite ready because it's still green there, but it's getting close. But that's kind of what they look like. And I really like this one because it's got, let me try to get it to where you can see how in the center there, how beautiful it's kind of got that, I don't even know what color you call it, kind of an electric pinkish color going into the orange. It's beautiful. And for Zinnia, I press the petals. The petals hold their color really well. This center here is, there's no way that you can press that. But these petals are very nice to work with, and they hold their color for a really long time. Here's what's left of the barrel that my husband did with zinnias that he started from seeds that I collected last year. And I don't know what you're seeing because the sun's on this screen, and I'm just hoping that you can see some. But anyway, I asked him to not clip back some things I want to save from seed. I want the pink, and look at how beautiful. Let's see if I can get up there. Look at how beautiful that orange is. If you can see it. It's a gorgeous orange. The pink's really pretty too. See them up there? Look at how tall they are. It's way above my head. Anyway, let me show you. So here he's saving these two. One is pink, one is orange. And you can see under here, I can find my hand, it's still green under there. So I don't think they're quite ready yet. But they're getting ready. Those are the seeds, but you can see they're not ready yet because they've got to be brown. They're still fleshy, whitish color. But when those go brown, they'll be ready. Something else that I didn't know would start from seed, and I found out because my husband bought a Gaillardia blanket flower, this guy, a couple of years ago. And the following year, we saw a few little plants that looked like Gaillardia, I mean real small, and left them, and lo and behold, they came from seed. I mean, they just reseeded themselves. And so, yes, you can grow Gaillardia from seed. And here, you know, again, here's a seed pod forming, but it's nowhere near ready yet. But the seeds are going to be down in here. So if you want to see if you can get some volunteered blanket flower, then just leave them. Don't cut them back until they seed and die off and go to seed. And then maybe you'll get some volunteers. If you want to save some on purpose, then pick the seeds and save them. And which is what I did. I've got a couple of them in my yard that didn't flower this year, but hopefully they'll make it through the winter and flower next year. That I did from seed that I collected. Here's another Strawflower, which is different than the ones that I showed you before. My husband bought this as a plant from the garden store, and I really, really like it. And so I said, well, make sure to let me save me some seed. And so I think that this is ready. I think that the seeds are in these flyaway pods. So you want to get them before they all fly away. This one's almost all gone. So I've got to look to there might be some candidates for seed collecting down here, so I got to keep my eye on it and start. If you're in doubt about when to collect the seeds, maybe collect, a couple like this now, and then and maybe one in this, variant or this variant, if you're not quite sure which part of it seeds. And then in your seed collection, if you have different gradations of saved seed, somewhere in your little baggie, you should hopefully have something viable. And here's another one down here. And I'm not sure what's going on. So anyway, give that one a try. Here's white anemone, and I'm going to go and show you the pink anemone, and then I'll talk more about it that's blooming this time of the year. Here's the pink anemone, and this clump that I have here, which, goes around and the other various parts of the garden. These will, here's one that's lost its petals, and it's not ready to seed yet, but as it develops, it'll make its seeds. These press. The only thing is when you press these, the center is very hard. So I pinch it out with my fingertips. That one's too far gone. But the centers are very hard, so you just want to be careful and pinch out some of that hard center with your fingertip before you press it. I don't save the seeds because they volunteer so easily, but I do let them go to seed, and then when I see them popping up in various parts of the garden, if I like where they are, I leave them, and if I don't, I pull it out. Also, with that, the fall anemones, you can pick, if you have a big clump and you do pull one out because it's somewhere you don't want it to be, you can take the root ball and you can transplant it, which is what this one is. I transplanted this one from the clump that I had where I just showed you the flowers. And this one's really happy. And it had flowers on it yesterday until I pressed them. I also pressed Columbine, and most of them I've cut back so far. But here's a seed pod of Columbine, and the seeds are down inside. Let's see if there's any left in there. I can get them out. Yeah, there are. Okay. See those little black seeds? That's Columbine seed. So you can either just leave them on the bush and they'll reseed themselves. Well, I have collected these and then scattered them where I want them, but usually what I'll do is I will cut these off, and then I'll go walk somewhere in my yard where I'd like to have some maybe come up, and I just shake it around. And then of course there's Johnny Jump Ups or violas, and I don't save these seeds because I never seem to time it right, but I do let them go to seed. And you can see how this one's already opened up and spewed forth its seed. And so then I'll come out, this one's a volunteer, I'll just come out and I know, most of these things that I'm talking about, I know what they look like as a small little seedling, and so I'll go, oh, that's a viola, and I won't pull it out and I'll leave it. And I think that one came from seed. I did, this is Alyssum, and Alyssum will start from seed, but they didn't get very big. They didn't do very well, but they will volunteer, or you can start them from seed. Something else that I really like is called Acroclinium, and they come in different shades of whites and pinks, mostly whites and pink as family. And I dry them. I don't press them. I dry them. They're beautiful. It's a Strawflower. They're papery, and this one would be ready for picking and hanging upside down to dry now. But here is one that's not quite ready yet, because you can see it's still a little bit green underneath there. But it's starting to get ready, and the seeds are going to be down like here. Okay, I moved some of the seeds down to the left side there, but you can see they're still not quite ready yet. But those I will start inside. You can throw them around, but I always, since I want to control these, in other words, I want to plant the babies and have them be somewhere specific to where I want to put them, so I will start these indoors. And these clumps, I probably have about 6 or 7 of these bushes that I started from these last year, and they were really happy this year. I mean, this whole area here, you can see they were very happy. Let's see, this one is Amaranth, and there's different varieties, but this is the one that has the tendrils that hang down, and this one's going to seed. But when it's at its normal state, which is this reddish color, you can press these. You can also dry them, but you can see all the seeds. And again, I'm not sure if they'll volunteer because I've never had one that was happy. This is the happiest one I've ever grown. The leaves are really cool too. They press really nice, and they get these interesting colors on them. They're beautiful. But see, this whole thing is ready. Seed ready. Here's some more amaranth. The plant itself didn't do very well. That's it. But look at how beautiful those leaves are. That's a Columbine, another better seed head. Anyway, I'm getting ready to wrap this up, and I appreciate you tuning in. And get out there, see what you've got going on, let the seeds scatter, or collect some yourself and have fun. Thanks for watching.